Hello, Sociology 220. Hey, this is the video that's to come. I want to go over your assignment briefly. You're going to find the social problem, talk about the populations affected, put a face on the social problem, and also have some calls to action. I have here a basic overview of databases and things of this nature, but for this video, I'm going to talk about ProQuest Research, Family Studies Abstract, Social Work Reference Center, Statistical Abstracts, United States, Google Advanced, and Google Scholar. I think this would probably be pretty good for the coverage for the type of project you're going to do, and I'm going to change this to the right sociology number. Let's go into ProQuest Research. You can also get to these databases A to Z, where we have, over 170. I always have ProQuest here. These are the top 3 databases that you will get the most use of here at Big Bend Community College in general. But for specific things, you'll see we have many databases by subject. We oftentimes can do a little bit better. ProQuest is also under P. So let's get back to here, ProQuest Research Library. Now this is a comprehensive wide database that covers things from astronomy to zoology. So of course family issues and things of this nature will absolutely be in this piece. Let's begin with a topic here. I like to go broad and select for full text. I'm going to put here family conflict. I'm going to put it in, I'm going to put this in quotes. That way it searches as one search term. Why do I want it to do that? If family is in the first paragraph and conflict is in the last paragraph, it's not going to do me any, it's not going to help me out any. Now these are the pieces of a Boolean search. And means family conflict, and whatever I put here will, I'll just find out how they overlap. Or means maybe if I have some synonyms to family conflict and I can add them together to search all of them at the same time. Not means there's something coming in my search I want to get rid of. Sometimes that might be something as simple as if you're searching for, say, plants and nuclear plants keep coming up. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to use and here as, let's look at family conflict and jobs. I'm going to use job, but I'm going to put an asterisk. This is called truncation. By putting job with an asterisk, I get job and jobs. So I have full text, and I have a phrase search, and I have a truncation and Boolean search all together. So right there, I taught you some very high-level tricks that I actually use every single week. Now then, one of the things in your assignment is that you have one scholarly article. So why don't we look to see if we can find that now. So we narrowed it down a little bit further. We're talking about work engagement, work. So if I was to do a Boolean search, I might do job or work because that's coming up. Also the concepts of satisfaction in small enterprise. Talks about caregivers, emergency technicians, a very specific, very narrow focus. Family conflict and job, work-life balance. So there's all sorts of ways I could narrow down this topic and bring in other keywords. I'm going to use my search to do my search. I'm going to see if it's going to let me do this. I can still do an and what I want to have here in your piece, you need to find a case study. So I'm going to do it like this and see if I can find a case study. Now the reason your assignment has a case study, one of your calls to research is to put a face, a real face on persons in these particular kinds of conflicts. Okay, this talks about life satisfaction and women. Let's see. An Indian case study. I like it when it shows up. A case study in ethics, a case study in different places, a case study in Tehran, a qualitative case study. Now what would that mean? A qualitative case study. In the world of research, you will often be called on to get something quantitative or qualitative. Now qualitative is not going to be based on, say, numbers or things like that, or a Likert scale where you're asked to choose something from 1 to 5. Was it great? 1 being no, and 5 being absolutely fantastic. A qualitative case piece would be perhaps a follow-up question. You do these all the time at Big Ben. You have the 1 to 5 scale, and the end is, what would you do to change this situation? You're looking at open-ending pieces, you're doing focus groups, interviews, and other places where real people can define and tell you about the problems surrounding something, not work within something you've created for them to measure, so to speak. It's a great way to put a face on it. So when you see the case studies, these are part of the things that you would need at least one of, and this also would be a scholarly article. So this neatly takes care of a few things. Another thing that I like to do, I like to look for systematic reviews. Now, a systematic review in medicine and other places is at the top of the evidence pyramid, the evidence-based pyramid. And what they do and why these are extra special is they're just not one study. They could be hundreds of studies all pulled together and analyzed in different ways. And the reason a lot of these are great, they talk about their search keywords and what they did to do the research. Then they give little annotations sometimes of the top research they found, and at the very bottom in the conclusions they give you some idea of best practices. So this has to do with family conflict and juvenile delinquency. We assume something to do with working parents. That may be a concept that you might also want to use for your research. We're seeing people and their anxiety or depressive symptoms in one of these. So this might actually take your topic to become quite smaller. Again, this is my search is a little big, but let's look at working the digital piece. We'll see the PDF is here. We'll see the abstract, we'll see an introduction, and it's going to give you some definitions. This is also part of your research to have some definitions on hand for your topics. This gives us our methods and analysis. A lot of times it's going to define what they mean by work from home. So it's going to give you a different way to look at things. It's going to talk about data collection, and it's going to talk about the different definitions of the pieces that may or may not be useful for you. Then it's going to talk about results, which you could go through and mine for ideas. Here it shows you how they read the different designs, the measures at this point. So that too could have a lot of impact on your research. And of course, whatever the conclusions are, they may be helpful in examining, making your point, defining your point, putting a face on the people. It may give you statistics and other things that might be useful. So when you're doing your research in ProQuest, consider looking for your case study there. Also, take a time to look at a systematic review to see if you could find some definitions and some history and other things that will be useful for you from a very credible resource. So if you were in the class, now I would ask you to do a search of your own, but I'm going to keep going since this is the video. We also have family study abstracts. This is one of the EBSCO databases. So let's give that a look. So in family studies, let's look at family conflict, and it has it all lit up. See, this has all sorts of other keywords that you could use and bring into your research. And I'm going to just put work. But we could put work-life balance and other issues. I'm going to set for search, and I'm going to show you where to set for full text right here. I want you to see here, this goes back to 1986, and if you'd like to go back and look to see how this might have varied as a topic over the years, you have the opportunity to do so there. You could also look for case studies here using and put case study, put it in a quote so that it searches as a phrase. And here we'll see we have 150 full text search results. Diagnosis, family conflicts, couples' attitudes towards therapy. In a way, this one doesn't seem quite right, so I'm going to go and change this to job. As it turns out, work can mean quite a few things. Now, we have not as many search results, but we don't need that many. All right. Emotional exhaustion, that would be a term you might want to look. the role of decision-making and management, conflict and health, equity, workplace policies, all sorts of really interesting things. And if you're like, well, there's only 21, how could I improve this? Go up here where it says choose databases. With EBSCO, you can create your own database section. I'm going to go here to Sociology Index, but you can choose from health, legal, and other issues as well, including the sciences, history, all sorts of things. In short, you're creating your own specialized database. So let's go into this. Now we have 207 pieces. Let's make sure it's still full text. You'll see some of the pieces go back to the 2000s. It's about 22 years of studies. In some cases, you want the last 5. And it's according to what you're working and focusing on. The impact of conflict when you work in family. That could kind of give you some great definitions. In this particular piece, if you go into the title, you can go into a place that gives you different subject terms. So if this particular article is a good one for you, look at these other types of words that you could use for your research. Over here to the left, you can go see the PDF and you can see the pieces. And here is where you'll see a piece to go to the citation. If you're using APA, remember to copy and correct, not to always copy and use, but this one is actually perfect. That doesn't always happen, and if you have questions about that, you can always ask the Writing Center, ask a librarian. My name is Rhonda, and I'm your librarian, and I particularly love APA, so it would be a thrill to me to have you ask me these questions, because I'd love to talk to you about it. So let's go back to our page and see what we're going to look at. So we looked at ProQuest and we saw how to get a case study. We saw how to use a systematic review to find out different things about our topic. We also saw different ways to use the search results to find different words to narrow our topic down. We went into family abstracts and found yet another way to find keywords. And we found a way we could connect different EBSCO databases together to do full text searches on a broader scale. Now we're going to look at Social Work Reference Center. Now this piece does have very different impact. Is going to be something for people who actually are working in social work. So I'm not sure this is going to be a winner for this. So I'm going to put family and work and see what comes up. Now this is going to give you things like quick lessons. See what else we might have. The quick lessons are all practice and skill, but a lot of what this is good for is giving you definitions of a problem. I think family conflict may be really broad, but let's go there. And this is going to be better for some topics over others. It's not going to work for every topic. So family conflict did not come up, so I'm just going to put family job and go back into that search. Family work. Okay. That one worked. It didn't work in terms of fitting this, but I just want to do a demo. So I'm going to go down here, the quick lessons. If we're using grandparents as caregivers because we have to work and that may be some form of conflict, this gives us some facts, some figures, some statistics, some food for thoughts, red flags. It gives you treatment summaries, assessments, and all sorts of things that you would need for putting a face, finding statistics, and also looking at your social research problem on families in different ways. It talks about all sorts of things that are specific to working in the field, but also things that will be helpful in your research. Next thing we want to look at is Google Advanced. Now, Google Advanced used to be under the Google search, but it moves around. So I put it under databases A to Z. I'm going to put in family conflict. I'm going to put it in quotes so it searches as a phrase. If you'll see over here, Google Advanced actually gives you all the search tricks. That's right. They also work in Google. Except instead of not, you would use minus. I use that all the time for Pinterest because it comes up in ways that just thwart me in my research. So what we want to do here, and why we're here at Google Advanced instead of the other, is 73% of people never get past the first page of Google. So we're going to make sure we go deeper. Now we have some choices here to lend some credibility to our Google search. Suppose we're trying to find associations or other people that work with issues that you have to do for your research, and this is going to be good because they're going to define your topic. They're going to put a face on your topic. They're going to give you some ideas about how to solve the topic. They're going to make statistics and other things around your topic. So .org puts it in a rich place. .gov puts it in the government areas, which is also very rich, and .edu, which sometimes is a lot of buried research information, is extremely interesting that you're not going to find in a Google search. So I'm going to tag this. Now it has dealing with difficult family relationships. There's going to be a lot of family conflict. So let's put a job. I think Google inherently assumes an and. So 3 phases of work family conflict, and this is from American Progress. Let's just take a quick walk in here. Now this is what you want to do. You want to find out who they are, what they do, look at the issues they're covering. They cover more than just this one. This happens to be it, so it's one of its many issues. So it's going to give you information, executive summary, so it's probably going to give you some different statistics as well. Now, who are they and should you use this information? Kind of look for their about statement. If it's not at the top, sometimes it's called who we are and what we do. Kind of see what their mission is and what they're working on. So make sure you kind of evaluate what you're using before you go into it. And you might be able to find several different solutions to the problem, and you might compare them to figure out which one is the best for you. So here, if you're going to .org definitions, you're going to put a face on it. But one of the big things you're going to do with that particular search is find some ways to solve the problem and reasons why you perhaps need to solve the problem. So let's go back to the final piece. Well, 3 more. I skipped statistical abstract. Now the statistical abstract is going to only work for the United States. It's primary information. That means it's numbers. It's not going to be a big article that tells you about something that happened or tries to build a narrative around a set of facts. It's the facts themselves. So take your problem, something that's measurable. I'm just going to put in family. This is going to be broad because they measure it in all sorts of different ways. This is talking about temporary assistance, poverty, which may or may not have to do with my piece, employment status of parents by the age of the child. Now, if I was building a piece on family conflict with work with children, this might kind of give me an idea of if that's, what the numbers and the figures for this is. And as you can see, it's just the numbers. And if this isn't up to date or you want more details, it tells you what government source you might find more on. So this is Employment Characteristics of Family 2023, and there are some early releases you might find on doing a basic search that way. And if you add the .gov, it's going to help you get there faster. So again, this is helpful for the United States. While it's not putting a face on it, it is providing you with some of the statistics you need for this project. Let's go back and go to Google Scholar. Now I have created this Google Scholar link, see this, and it's on databases A to Z. This may not act this way and if you just go into straight. In fact, it will not. So I'm just going to go to family conflict, work engagement, work stress. Let's give that a try. If you hit this, it's going to take you to a paywall. If you go over here, 85% of the time is going to resolve. The first thing it's going to take you to is our library catalog. It's an EBSCO business, and that may also give you another database to search. You might want to look at that while you're there. And as you can see, it takes us right to the article. That's not how Google Scholar usually works, so make sure you use our handy dandy pieces. Now this is another piece. Let me see if it lets us go back. When you're here, if you're trying to figure out, well, is this a article that's well used or is it appreciated? I don't know anything about this topic. This does let you know how many times it's cited, and you can also only look at the more recent things or create custom ranges. You can also go here to see the citation. It does have APA. The journal should be capitalized, everything but other than that, it's pretty good to use. And in addition to finding things here, it also lights up things at other institutions that may be available to you full text. Use the right hand piece and you're in somewhat good shape. Additionally, I just want to show that it's cited by 549. Your other option is to go look at those 549 things, because those may also be something that you could use for your work. So Google Scholar and Google Advanced, when you use them in these specific ways, gets you past that first Google page that 27% people do not get past. It's going to get you out of the ads, and it's going to get you out of your kind of like your Google bubble that you sort of get put in as the more you use Google over time. It's going to send you out in different directions and help you discover other items. So that is going to help you out of them all, just to go over, in defining a social problem. Systematic review and case studies in ProQuest will be excellent. Also, family studies abstracts, if something is there. You can also add in sociology index, can kind of help that out. Populations affected by the social problem, almost all of these pieces to the left will do that for you, including statistical abstracts that can kind of give you the number and where those persons are and how that's changed over a period of time. Now, when you're trying to put a face on your social problem, using the search using a case study, or if you go into a .org using Google Advanced, you might find some actual personal stories about people. When you're doing a research in ProQuest, or even an academic search Premier, or some of the other databases we have, using and searching for qualitative research and using keywords like interviews will also turn up discussions and help you put a face on the social problem. Calls to actions, a lot of times you'll find those in the systematic reviews, as I showed you, and ProQuest Research Library. Also, when you're using Google Advanced and you do a .org, .gov, or .edu search, you might find think tanks and other places that may provide an idea about how they're moving forward to solve these issues. So over here you have a complete package of things to kind of work for, and this is what you're going to do with them. And if you have any problem with any part of this whatsoever, reach out to me. My name is Rhonda Kitchens, and I am your librarian at the Big Bend Community College, William C. Benatti Library.